Hello YouTubers, and welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. This time, I take a look at the second classic Dalek collector set, which again contains 3 Daleks from the classic series, 2 Daleks being from the 1960s, and 1 Dalek being from the 1970s. Now there's not really much to say about this set, other than all 3 of these Daleks are just basically retooled and repainted Daleks, which are basically the repaints of the Daleks which were included in the first set, which were the Dead Planet Dalek, the Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks, and the Dalek from Genesis of the Daleks. So now I'll start off with reviewing the first Dalek of this set, which is this Dalek in the middle. And this is apparently called the Saucer Pilot Dalek. Well, this is just fiction, really, because what it actually is the Supreme Dalek from the Dalek invasion of Earth, because basically the Supreme Dalek is like this Dalek, except all the way around the bottom it's all black, but as you can see on this, parts of it have not been painted black. The slats at the bottom are just being left silver, which is correct because it did appear in the show in the second episode of the Dalek invasion of Earth, but by the middle of episode 3 we never see this guy ever again. He is gone. So instead we have the Supreme Dalek, which is basically like this Dalek. It's the same body and everything, but it's all complete. If you want to go into more detail about this, then I recommend you either watch Batman March's review of this set, as he goes into more detail about this, or you actually watch the Dalek Invasion of Earth on DVD, as you'll have a text which will come up on the screen and it will explain all about this Dalek. So it is not the Saucer Pilot Dalek. Technically it is the Supreme Dalek from the Dalek Invasion of Earth, but it's just incomplete. But nevertheless, let's go through the details. So obviously it is quite unique because of the incomplete paint job on the bottom half of the Dalek. Now the fender is like the Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks, except now it's got a matte finish. The finish on the Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks, as you may remember, was glossy. It was all shiny. But this is, I think it's around the same size, if not a little bit bigger, because as you can see, they've stuck on a normal Dead Planet Dalek on the top of the actual fender at the bottom. So what we're really getting is a Dead Planet Dalek on top of the fender from Planet of the Daleks. But it is correct because that's how it did look in the story. So overall, the detail on this is pretty good. The head is black, which is correct, and obviously there's no slats because there was no slats in the story. The slats weren't introduced until the next story rather. Not the next story, because the story after that was The Rescue, which saw the introduction of Vicky. But the slats were actually introduced in the chase, and on this we have the dish on the back, which was on all the Daleks which featured in this story, and there will be no more appearances from this dish afterwards. So this was the only Dalek story, and it's quite a good story. I recommend to watch it, and obviously the articulation is all the same as well, and the eye, the rings around the eye, they're not all together anymore, they're just more further apart, which it would be like for the rest of the series, like nowadays it's like that. And no pupil in the eye, which is correct. The whisk is the same as the Dead Planet Dalek, and it's just painted black around where the weapons are, and that is really everything I have to say about this Dalek. So again, if you want to have a look at the whole history around this Dalek, then check out Batman March's review, as I'm sure you'll know who he is. So now on to the next Dalek, which apparently is the Emperor Dalek's guard Dalek. And speaking of Emperor Dalek, I really wish that they would release a figure of either the classic one or the new series one. I just think it would be really good. It would stand out on the shelf. Maybe collect and build, but very doubtful, I think. So this is basically a Dead Planet Dalek. The fender is exactly the same. It's like the fender on top of the big fender on this one. And all it is really, it's just all repainted. The hemispheres are a darker blue to that one, as you can see, as they went a bit darker during the late 60s. Basically when Patrick Troughton took over the role as the Second Doctor in 1966, and in The Evil of the Daleks, which was season 4's finale, basically most Daleks just had the heads painted black. There was some with the normal heads as well, which was just plain old silver, and yes, there's not really much else to say about this Dalek either, other than it made a cameo appearance in Asylum of the Daleks from the most recent series of Doctor Who, and it did absolutely nothing. All it did was this, just spinning around. But on this Dalek, there's obviously the slats, which is correct because by this time the slats were introduced, as they've been on the Daleks for 2 years at this point. So, and also the gun is it's got less detail than that. That's how the gun would remain for the rest of the series until Remembrance of the Daleks in 1988. And yeah, that's really much it. Nothing much else to say about this Dalek either. And the eye stalk is painted silver, and the rings around its eye are turquoisey, and in fact it's more lighter than the rings on that eye. So that is the guard Dalek, or just a Dalek from Evil of the Daleks. The final Dalek in this set is Dalek from Day of the Daleks, Supreme Dalek from Day of the Daleks in fact, and also Frontier in Space, which was before Planet of the Daleks. So this Dalek is basically a repaint of the Genesis of the Dalek, which featured in the first set, which I reviewed a few days ago. And all it is, it's just all gold. The hemispheres on the bottom half are the same. The fender's the same. Um, and it's just all painted all gold really. And the only difference is there's no silver dot here in the middle of the plunger. The arm, or the gun rather, is now painted all gold instead of just silver or bronze, and even the ball joints have been painted gold as well. The ring is still here, like on the Genesis Daleks. I forgot to pick up on that, but I think I mentioned that it's on the Planet of the Daleks, Supreme Dalek, and all of the slats and the mesh and like down here is all painted gold as well, and here as well the lines here painted gold, and even part of the eye stalker is painted gold. So if you get it lost, like if you just pick it up like that and you just drop it on the floor or something like that, then you'll be able to distinguish which Dalek it is from. So obviously it's gold, so it is on this Dalek. And that is it really. Nothing much else to say, and as always they've got wheels at the bottom so you can move them about, and the articulation is normal. In fact, the articulation in this set as a whole is a lot better than the articulation which was in the last set, because the gun on the Planet of the Dalek, Supreme Dalek, couldn't move, and also both weapons on the Genesis of the Dalek, I sound really repetitive there. The weapons on that Dalek from Genesis of the Daleks, basically they could move a bit, but they couldn't move around like 360 like this. So that was a bit of a shame, but this set is a massive improvement on the last set. But I'm not sure about the choice of the Daleks, because at the time it was a bit odd. I would have liked 1980s Daleks in this set, because at this point there were only 6 classic Daleks that were released, and there was 3 from the 60s and 3 from the 1970s basically, and it was a bit lacking in Daleks from the 1980s. But obviously we know that they eventually get released with more Dalek sets and more Dalek waves and exclusives and things like that, and there's more 60s and 70s Daleks that get released in addition to the 1980s Daleks as well. So yeah, that's it really. So I hope you enjoyed watching this action figure review of the classic Dalek Collector Set 2. Join me next time, as I shall be doing another action figure review of another classic action figure, or maybe a new series action figure, who knows. But just stay tuned for more videos by me, the Obsessed Uvian 95, as there'll be many videos made all across summer 2013.